Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting Cypher, the Lord of the Fallen. Yes, here he is. He's a classic one from Triumvirate of the Primarch, and I'm painting this for one of my Patreons, and, well, it's taken me a little while to get to it, so we're doing it now. I'm sorry. What we're going to do is we're just going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. He has been primed in Wraithbone, and the colour we're going to be using first is Black Legion. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of his armour. So we're just going to start down here at the foot. And we're going to work our way around. Now, it might make sense to do the cloak first because it is one of the biggest and most kind of defining features of the model, but you want to get the armour done. You don't want to have to mess about with it. I'm going to get this Black Legion all over. I'm going to try to avoid any trim or any decoration, of which there's a fair bit. For example, this skull here on the knee. But if you do get any Black Legion over the top of those details, that's okay. Just sort them out with a little bit of Wraithbone. So with all that Black Legion applied and drying, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and we're going to apply this to the inside of all of his cloaks. And this can get a little bit confusing because they are all over the place. But firstly, we're going to start with this one just here. I'm going to start towards the top. Really make sure you work your way in there. And then we're going to start pulling it all the way down. Over the top. Like so. We also want to just flip him over. And come at the inside of this cloak like this. Making sure that we get it all. Like that. Then on the other side, you don't do the outside bit or the front facing area, you do the inside here. Like that. We've also at this point got the little Dark Angels icon on the belt. Like that. And then we've got the inside of this area of the cloak. So with all that Blood Angels red now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to apply this over the top of the outside of the cloak. We're going to start just here on the shoulder, and then use these big broad brush strokes to put it down and over the rest of the cloak. Get a nice smooth finish. Just keeping an eye out for any large pools of brown, which you definitely don't want. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown. We're going to apply this over the top of the leather. So we've got the kind of inside of this bracer just here. Like that. We've got the little sheath in here. We've got the straps. There like that. Got this kind of belt strap, or rather holster strap. We've got the belt feed for the bolt shells. And we've got the pistol holster itself. Just here. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh. I'm going to apply this over the top of Cypher's face. And with that Fyreslayer Flesh all applied, we then want some Volupus Pink. I'm going to apply this over the top of the wrap of the sword and the little dagger on his hip. And so with that now done, we're going to take some Apothecary White and we're going to apply this over the top of any of the little skulls set in the armour. So we've got the one here on the knee. We've got the ones on the elbow, just above it. Just here. Like that. We've got this one here on the bracer and same on the other side as well. We've got this one set into the shoulder, like that. We've got the bones on the chest. As well. There's a skull here that we need to get. And then we've got all of these skulls down here, of which there are many. And we've also got the wings on the sheath as well. So with that now done, it's time to add some metallics. And the first of these is going to be some thinned down Leadbelcher. I'm going to be applying it over most of the remaining details. So we've got things like the pistols. We're applying this pretty much all over the top of them, excluding those plasma coils. We've got the chain going across his chest. We've got the little spikes on his armor. So there's one just here we want to grab. And there's one there as well. Like so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's the mechanical details and the sword blade on the back. And for those of you who just spotted it, the sheath is actually leather as well, so I have just done that little bit up there with the Cygor Brown again. So we're just going to pick out all of these details like this with the Leadbelcher. And then once that's done, we'll come back. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to apply this over the top of, well, pretty much all of the remaining details. Again, excluding those plasma coils. So with all that Retributor Armour applied, we're then going to take some Frostheart at long last. I'm going to apply this over the top of the plasma coils. So with that done, we've now got all of our base coats on Cypher. So he's looking pretty cool. However, now we're going to shade it. And the first of these shades is going to be some Nuln Oil. And we're going to apply this over the top of all of the black, all of the silver, and we'll also apply this over the top of the white as well. So with that all done, what we're then going to do is take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over the top of the inner red. Not going over the gold. No sir. Need some stronger shading for the gold. So with that now done, we're going to shade all the gold. The colour we're going to use is some Guilliman Flesh. So with that all done, Cypher is now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready, and he's looking pretty cool. However, we're not going to leave him there, of course not. We're going to take him to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. And the first of these layers is going to be some thinned down Morghast Bone. And what we're going to be using this for is to essentially kind of smooth out the cloak and also just kind of add a little first stage of brightness back in over the top. So we're going to start applying this over the top of any of the kind of raised areas of the cloak and the folds, just avoiding anywhere where our skeleton horde has settled in the recesses. So with all of that Morghast Bone applied, as you can see, what we're now going to do is take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm going to add this as a little kind of recess shading into our deepest areas on the cloak. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Ushabti Bone. I'm going to use this to effectively do another relayer, only this time we're going to go a little bit narrower, but we are going to be kind of doing most of it. So, for example, we've just got this fold here. So we're going to apply this over the top of the whole thing because it's a nice flat area. So with that Ushabti Bone applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Screaming Skull, and we're going to do, well, much the same thing again, only this time we're going even narrower. So for example, here on this fold, I'm going to apply this over the top of the sharpest areas. just like this sort of thing. So with that all done, you should have a pretty cool looking cloak. Now it's not 100% finished because we're going to add a little bit of dirt to it later on, but we'll do that towards the end. So instead what we're going to do is move on to the next colour, which is going to be all of the black. And the colour we're going to start highlighting this with is some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to start picking out all of the edges. Across all of the black. Just like this. With all that Dawnstone applied, we're now going to take some thinned down Administratum Grey. I'm going to add this to the sharpest points in all of those black details. So we're looking for the corners, any rivets. Just like this sort of thing. So with that all done, Cypher's armour is now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. I'm going to use this to add a pretty wide highlight to the internals of the cloak, but when it comes to the small areas, such as the design on the belt, I'm going to be a little bit more controlled. So with that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Fire Dragon Bright. I'm going to use this to add a little kind of spot highlight to the sharpest points in all of our red. So with that done, the red is now all finished across Cypher. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Corax White. I'm going to use this to effectively relayer all of the white details, just avoiding any of the recessed detail. So for example, just down here on this skull, we are effectively highlighting it, but when it comes to the main body of the skull, we are just going to cover over that, just avoiding where our Apothecary White and our Nuln Oil have settled, just like this. So with all that Corax White applied, we're now going to move on to the next colour, which is going to be some thinned down Ironbreaker. And we're going to use this to highlight all of the silver. I'm just going to start here on this pistol. So with all that Ironbreaker now applied, we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to highlight all the gold. So with all that Liberator Gold applied, we're now going to move on to our last area, which is going to be his face. The colour we're going to be using to highlight this first is some thinned down Flayed One Flesh. So with that done, we're then going to take a tiny little bit of Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the eyeball. And with that Black Legion applied, just to finish him off, we're going to take a tiny little dot of Screaming Skull. I'm going to apply this in the corner of his eye. Just like that. Forgive me, but he's not quite finished. We did say we would add a little bit more detail to his cloak, and that's exactly what we're going to do now. So we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and what we're going to do, we're basically going to stipple this on and then stipple it off. So we're going to pick a nice open area to do this on. We'll start just here. So we're going to add quite erratically some jabs of Agrax Earthshade. We're then going to wash the brush. And then we're going to stipple over the top of that stuff, like that, just to give it the hint of a little bit of grossness towards the bottom of the cloak.
So there we have it, base all complete, and Cypher is now complete. The Lord of the Fallen himself, all ready to get up to no good across the galaxy, of course. Although I'm not sure where he sits in the narrative now that the lion's back anyway. Anyway, he's a really cool model. Done him once before, a long time ago, but that was before I had a YouTube channel. It was really fun to revisit him now with some contrast paints. It was a really good time. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.